everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk with Victory. I'm Leisha Lee. Don't be afraid to like, share, and comment on the topic that we're talking about today. Feel free to go ahead and do those things like share and comment. We want to know your opinion too on our topics. And I want to thank Pastor Tony Smith and Victorious Ministries for allowing us to be a part of the vision. Ladies, I'm so glad to be here with you today. Hello. How are y'all doing? Hello. Wonderful, delightful, marvelous. So our topic today, we're going to discuss being disciplined in your health and wealth. And the first question I want to ask you all is, what is your definition of a healthy lifestyle? This is all geared toward your perspective.
I would say being balanced mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and knowing yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, I think being well-rounded in all those areas, right? When it comes to emotional, being able to have control, right, over your emotions, self-control. Financially, being comfortable. You know, you don't have to be rich, but be comfortable. You know, not in debt. You know, owing people. You know, things like that. Physical. I think physical is definitely important as well, right? What we eat and what we put in our body, making sure, you know, we drink some water, exercise, you know, those type of things. So I think being well-rounded in all areas, not that we're going to perfect any of them, but, you know, being well-rounded.
Okay.
I agree, balancing every area of your life or working on being balanced in every area of your life.
So I agree with everything that was said, but I kind of wanted to go into like what is being well-rounded, so people, you know, just my opinion or what would be like as far as like balancing.
Sure.
You know, being able to identify areas that need growth or need change is helping you to bring balance and to be well-rounded in those areas. So everything may not always like look good or be good, but being open to identify like, hey, I need to slow up eating. Hey, I need to, you know, stop shopping as much. You know, just identifying the areas, being open, you know, to change and identifying areas where you can do better. I think helps bring that, you know, balance.
That's excellent. And then if I could piggyback on what you were saying, Kim, in addition to that, bringing the balance, but also knowing what the triggers are that takes away from that balance, which would hinder the healthier side of your being. And being able to know, okay, I know that these things are going to bring me stress, or these things are going to distract me from my goal, then I need to be able to stop those things so I can do the healthier thing or the right thing, so I would have a more well-balanced or healthier life.
Okay. Anyone else?
I was going to say, I agree with being balanced and knowing that when you're out of balance, how to get back in line. And I guess that's kind of what you're saying, Kim, like knowing that when things happen, it doesn't mean that you've messed up or your life is messed up, but that you just figure out how to get back in line.
All right. How about you?
I would say I think balance is a tricky word. I've heard people describe it more like harmony, whereas every one of those areas doesn't get an equal slice. You know, it'd be great if I could give 25% each to my health, my finances, my mental, and my emotional. But I find in some seasons, finance needs to be 75% of the thing I need to focus on. And some of those other things need to take a backseat. Or this is a season, I'll say for me, I'm working on physical and mental health more than I'm working on those other things. Finances is on autopilot. I know what I'm doing there. I don't have to put as much time or intensity into focusing on that. So right now my pie or my pizza, if you look at it like that, is a little, one slice is bigger than the others. So, but it's still a whole.
Okay.
And it may shift.
Yeah, and I
based on
think
what
that's
the
a
season
balance
is.
for your life.
Yeah.
Right, it's right. The balance is according to your life.
Yeah.
What the Bible says is according to your faith.
To your
you know?
measure.
So everybody's given a measure.
Yeah.
But it is according to yours.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
All right. So do you all think it's possible to be mentally and emotionally healthy but physically unhealthy, or vice versa?
In my opinion, I think that when you look at like if you're physically unhealthy, I don't think that you're mentally healthy. I think that part of someone being physically unhealthy, like it starts with your mindset. So I guess to answer your question, I would say no in comparison to those two.
Okay.
I take back my answer. Before we started, I said something different.
Okay.
But now when I look back on it, like when I was going through my little thing, right? And the Bible say it's the spirit of a man that sustains him in sickness. So even though my physical body was depleting, my mental was still sustained through the word of God. So I think I can be emotionally sound and my physical body be deteriorating. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I would agree, because when we were talking before, one thing that came to mind is family members and friends that I've seen gone through the process of cancer. And especially those who are women of faith, you know, even though that body is going through the process of the chemo or whatever the process is that the body is in that stage of cancer, that mind, the faith, were things that strengthened them to be able to endure and go through that process, and also ultimately contribute to their healing. And many of the ones that I've experienced being around their survival and being survivors of cancer. So I think it can happen at the same time, but it also determines, or it depends upon, I should say, what state your mind is in. You understand?
Or what we call in health.
I was about
Or
to
what
say,
we call in health.
what is your like take on unhealthy? Is
Oh,
there
okay.
is there a certain level as far as being unhealthy mentally and physically?
So I
Or
think for me
emotionally?
it's two-sided, because like the sickness that I occurred, it wasn't mine. I didn't sign up for it. I didn't go get it. It wasn't like, oh, you ate bad and that happened to you.
There you
No,
go.
it was just like, oh, this is here and now you have to deal with it. Well, how did it get here? Well, we don't know.
Right.
You know, it was that kind of thing. Now, that's one side of healthy, and then the other side of healthy would be me physically working out, you know, getting my steps in, making sure my blood is flowing and my cardio
That's
is,
good.
you know, and making sure my 8-pack turned into 6 for the summer get hit, you know, those type of things. So I think the healthy part is two-sided. Y'all agree?
I agree with
I
that. I
agree.
think my comment was more so it should have been two-sided. Like I understood like the example you gave as far as like with your situation. Like I definitely agree with her. I think it's two-sided. I was looking at more like the
physical.
and not really, you know.
Okay.
That makes sense.
You could be mentally unhealthy and physically healthy. It could go either or. It depends on what you're going through at the time and what's your mindset. Everyone's different.
Okay. So how does one's mental, physical, and emotional health, good or bad, affect? We're going to break it down into different categories here. So the first one we're going to talk about is family. So how does one's mental, physical, and emotional health, good or bad, affect family?
I'll speak on as far as my experience when I was going through different things, and it was like some mental illness things going on from my past. It actually affected my family because I was angry, so it trickled down on them. And the fears that I had, they experienced it because I was keeping myself in a box, so therefore it was like they were in a box with me. So it really affected them.
Amen.
And I think if my mental, I'm just going to speak as a parent, if my mental, right, is struggling, you know, in any area, depression, anxiety, you know, I mean, because people have some diseases and stuff like that they can't really control, right? Like schizophrenia, bipolar, things like that. But things that I can control, I put a post on Facebook and I was saying, don't project your negative onto your child because they don't have the capacity to sustain or maintain where you are. So if I have a problem with somebody, I'm not going to allow my 15-year-old to have a problem with them. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because what they're giving him as an adult, he can't handle it, but I can.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not a conversation like, oh, I got an issue with them, so you can do what I'm doing. No. That doesn't work like that. Because I'm setting him up for failure. One, he's not mature emotionally, spiritually, right? And probably physically either, right? So I think what happens is when we in a family and we're giving out, I think we just have to be careful and mindful of what we're giving out to our family, right? And that's just from a day-to-day perspective. When you wake up and you wake up what they call on the wrong side of the bed, and you fussing and cussing and do-do-do-do-do, you ruin everybody's day.
Yeah.
I feel like how you feel can affect your family. I know I was going through a season when my kids were little. I was going through depression, and it affected my children in different ways. One of my children wanted to take advantage and to do what they wanted to do because I wasn't up on everything like I was before. I guess my attention wasn't as strong as it was, where the other one was very emotional and was aware of what I was going through. But I also flipped it and took it to prayer and asked God to strengthen me that I wouldn't slow my kids down, that whatever he had for them. But, over time, I found that they looked at me and said, well, if she made it through that, I know I can make it through. So in the end, they used it to their advantage. But while I was going through it, it didn't feel good. Like mentally, I was trapped. Like, who am I affecting? Because I see it affecting different people in different ways. It brought some family members closer together where, it strengthened their prayer life, strengthened their walk. And then others just, I guess, affected differently.
Okay. What about work life? Like, how does it affect your work life? Does it affect your work life? If so, how?
If we're talking about the mental aspect of it, if like we mentioned depression or any type of anxiety, what have you, depending upon the job that you do, if it's anything where you have to be focused, do analytical thinking or anything of that, it's going to hinder that process. You're not going to be able to stay focused. You're not going to be able to meet deadlines. Those things are going to affect your bottom line. So it can definitely affect the work environment. It's also going to interfere and lessen your interaction with others, your socialization. So if you have a job where you're supposed, let's say you are a greeter or you're a waiter, and you're supposed to be personable and friendly with people, then you're not going to have that same mannerism to bring in customers or to deal with any type of confrontation, because you're going to be ready to jump and go after the person instead of being able to say, okay, I understand you have a problem or an issue, and be able to rationally solve what that person's issue is. So it definitely will affect it.
Okay.
I'm starting to see that a lot of people will identify work as one of their triggers or the thing that is affecting their mental or physical health. I've seen recently a professional stepped away from a very, established job to vacation. Like, that's their one plan. I'm going on vacation. I'll tell y'all what I'm going to do after that. Because so much of your day, physically, emotionally, the things it takes to get the job done with your brain power, or physically showing up, the emotions, how you offload other things you're supposed to be dealing with, really affect that work life. If you make that work number one, it could take you out of here. So I think, we're really at a time of really reevaluating the significance of work and what it can do to your physical, mental, emotional health.
And it takes a lot of your day. You at
Yeah.
work majority of your day. So those people that you see, those people you have to encounter, the tasks that you have to do, that's what, how much percent of your day? Probably about 50%, 35 to 50%. If you're there 8 hours a day, some people work overtime, right? Then you sleep 6 to 8 hours or whatever. So that's a big part of my day. So when I come here, I'm owning it. Oh, I'm setting the atmosphere up in here. Don't come in here with no attitude. Don't come in here clacking your mouth. Don't come in here nagging and complaining, because I'm coming in, hey, I'm the one you irritated with. Like, what's her problem? Why is she smiling? Because you're not going to dictate this. I have to be here, too. I have a long day ahead of me. I have to be here a long time.
And
I think that's part of the balance too, because a lot of us, our whole lives are thrown off because of our work, our jobs, or where we work. And a lot of us supposed to work 8 hours, but we work 10. We work 12. Some of us are going to work 12 hours, but then we wind up working 14, and then we're mad because we don't have a proper rest. And all of that rest is very important for humans. And I think that we don't really realize that because we function so well without it. But then we get all off balance. And so yes, when you're not right, or if I'm not right, yes, it's going to affect a lot of things, but there are a lot of times that we aren't right mentally, but we got to work through it. We got to work through it, but sometimes you don't realize the reaction that you get because of how you are.
Yeah.
You think, oh, well, this is a regular day, and I just said, or I just did, but that your child wouldn't have reacted like that if you wouldn't have woke up, like you said, but you
Yeah.
woke up like that because you only had 3 hours of sleep
Yeah.
because you worked 16 hours instead of the 12 that you were supposed to work. So it all trickles down, and that's the part of the whole thing we started with the balance for your life. You have to figure out, what do I need to maintain this good state
Yeah.
of being?
Do you all
good.
remember towards the end of going out of 2023 when they were talking about changing different corporate offices where you would have a 4-day work week and instead of a 5-day work week, so that individuals would be able to spend more time with their families and do that social emotional piece in their lives? What happened to it?
I have no idea.
Right, I
Yeah, like
that
I-
I put that in a little Dropbox at work every week.
In the Dropbox.
Little Dropbox.
All right, so let's go into your social life. So how does one's mental, physical, and emotional health affect, good or bad? So it could be not all. It doesn't have to be bad, but the good too. Affect the. I was about to say the following. Affect your social life.
Well, if you're down, you naturally normally want to isolate and you don't want to be around people. So force yourself to be around other people, and hopefully your mood will change depending on the type of people that you're around. Be around uplifting people. Don't be around Debbie Downers. And
Well, at my job, we do this thing. Whoever engaged the person first, you either have to bring them up or down, and they gonna gauge what you did for them.
Oh, that's
So when
good.
my boss walk in my office, he like, oh my goodness, why you bring me up? I wanted to stay down there. I'm like, mm-mm. He was like, I can't, that's not real. I said, whether it's real or not, you'll never know because you came into my presence, right? And so the end goal is always, to bring the room up, and with your social, aspect and stuff like that. I don't think nobody chooses to be Debbie Downer, mean, nasty. It's just what you allow to penetrate. You know what I'm saying? And then it's projected. Did that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
That made me think of one of my coworkers. We was in the office and she was complaining about her doctors getting on her nerves and all that and going down. I'm ready to quit. I was like, girl, just take a break. I said, don't let them get you all upset. Right. This is a job. Yeah. I said, take a break. Take a break. Go for a walk, and you come back and you'll, take the break you need, come back and start all over again. She was like, I'm going for a walk. I was like, oh, okay. And then my other coworker was sitting there and she said something. I was like, well, I'm not going to let that get me. She was like, one thing about you, you don't be letting that. I said, girl, these people not about to have me stressed out. So you take the break you need. The work will still be there. And, you come back and you finish and pick up from there. But as far as socially, I think sometimes it can affect. I think some people, like you said, some people don't want to be around other people. I think sometimes some people might want to. Like feel like they need to get out. They need to go out and go somewhere. They might call up girlfriend. Hey girl, I need to, like one of my friends, she was like, we need a break. She said, we need, like, I have married friends and some single friends, but one I was married, she said, we need a break. What you doing? We need to go somewhere and get away from the kids. I said, let me see, but we were playing something or whatever. So I think it can go either way. And go ahead.
And it's helpful to have people who can do that with you, can come to you to kind of offload, and then also can identify, hey, you're not really yourself, and kind of check in. I think I'm sitting around a bunch of people who end up being the strong friend, or may have the answers when it comes to work or ministry or family. You're the go-to person, but really having somebody being able to say, okay, I saw you answer that real well, but for real, what's really going on? So it's about
like
social. It's about that community. Like you really need people to know and be able to see beyond.
And you said community, so I think communication is key. If you're able to communicate it. Cherie, I need to go out. Leisha, I need to talk. Can I get 5 minutes of your time, right? I'm going to dump on you, and then you unload it to Jesus. Like, help me. You know what I mean? Because, I talked to God. I did talk to God about it, right? I prayed about it, but I need a physical person who can give me some dialogue right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm in this place. So I think being able to communicate that with your community is very important, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what helps to keep you healthy, right?
But
So I was I'm sorry. I was just going to say, for some people, depending on their situation, though, they're not mentally aware. They don't know that they're in this
That's
space.
what I said, if you're able to.
Yeah, so if you're able to, that's good. Like, because some people, depending on their situation, they don't know they're in this space. Like, how do I know that I'm in this space? How do I even know how I'm presenting myself? Because sometimes, like, I like to just be transparent, like going through a season of, mental, depression and stuff, like with myself, like internally I was feeling this way, but I felt like when I was coming amongst people,
They didn't see it.
they didn't see it, but they did see it. So it's like you have to be mentally aware of how you are, like how you're presenting yourself. So you
Well,
gotta.
with me, I do nails, right? And most of my clients that are my regular clients that I see on a regular basis, I can gauge their vibe.
Okay.
Right. So my one client, she came in and I said, she sat down, she was trying to muddle through it. I was like, that's phony. I said, what's really happening? And she was just, and she just like went bananas, and this is the thing. Real friends or people that's in your circle or people that think they know you, they should be able to see it, right?
Yeah.
Even if I can't communicate it. My sister should know when something is going on with me because you know me that well, right?
Yeah.
No matter how much I had it or try to cover up, because we have that connection, she should be calling like, I ain't heard from you in 3 days. When you talk to me every day, 3 days is a lot.
Yeah.
I saw you at church. You didn't smile. You was avoiding me. You didn't give me a hug. Just certain things and behaviors. So for us, I would say if we have friends and family, we should watch for triggers. Because I do. When it comes to my friends, like, you good? Like, you all right?
But we
One
got to
of my
also
friends-
make sure we are making available a safe space too for people to come to us. We have to be
Well, they my friends
consistent
and
with
family,
that.
so it's safe. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about just randoms.
know,
I don't.
right.
I don't know your vibe if we don't vibe like that. Right. I don't know what to look for. I'm talking about people in my personal space.
Yeah, I will say one of my friends though, she FaceTimed me. She said, "Hey," she said, "I just want to let you know I'm making a point. I'm starting this thing, but I'm making a point this year to start checking in through FaceTime, not just text, not just calling, but to actually see you through FaceTime if we're not like in each other's space or whatever." I was like, "That's good." She was like, "Yeah." So I FaceTime this one, I FaceTime this one. I'm now FaceTiming you. She said, "And one thing I see, all y'all dealing with these kids," and she don't have any. So it was funny, but she made a good point though, to go out of your normal routine and just check it. Hey, how you doing? Because you can lie through text, but to see someone through FaceTime, it's like, oh girl, I see what you're dealing with. All right, so we're gonna do something on this day, just to like bring, and it changes the mood, honestly. And so we touched on social life and the relationship aspect of it. What about church? Do you feel like it affects your ministry?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
She said yes, definitely. Do you feel like a person whose mental, physical, or emotional health can affect it? Can they still be purposeful and intentional in ministry as far as like ministering through the Spirit and really like hearing from God, or doing not even that, but just serving, doing what they need to
yes.
do?
I mean, I think you
Right.
can do the physical work. Now, how effective it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's the question, right? I think you can do the physical work. Church
Okay.
need to be clean. I think you can clean up. I think you can serve. I think you can pray for somebody, right? I think you can. But how effective it is,
Right. And I think we all have a purpose. To start with that. So, of course, they could be purposeful, but I think your demeanor is everything from when you hit the door that it should be left outside. Regardless of how you're feeling, you shouldn't come into the kingdom displaying that. And I've personally been affected by that by several. And I still act the same way, and it's actually reversed it and changed them. So now we actually have a different communication because how I came off when they were in that mental state. I didn't come off how, I'll say what they expressed to me, how they were treated previously.
Oh, okay.
So they expected a certain thing, and I'm not that type at all. So,
I just want to touch on what she just said. I think, when she was saying starting the door, like one of the ministries that I'm on is greeting, right? And I know all y'all think that I always smile and stuff. I'm joking. But, I'm joking, y'all. But I've had days where I think I have an awesome team. I've had days where just being transparent. I wasn't. And because I'm a greeter and knowing that, you know, my demeanor when somebody hits the door, you know, can change everything and be like, oh, I ain't never going back there, or, you know, whatever the case may be, like my energy can affect them coming in the door. So it's like I got a great team, like where people would be like, Kim, check that, or, you know, will pray with me, or, you know, sometimes they'd be like, oh, you know what, I see you in this space. Okay, I'm gonna cover you for the day. I'm gonna go and stand in your place so we don't affect other people. So
That's good.
I think just, you know, having and being open, like I wasn't offended or, you know, but being open, like, you know what, Kim, I do need to check myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, check your attitude, you know, so you can't be, you know.
And being aware.
Yeah, and being aware of it.
Yeah,
And
that's
then,
the
you know,
thing.
stepping aside, saying, you know what, I'm gonna get myself together.
Right.
You know, I sat down 9 o'clock service, you know, 11 o'clock service, I'm gonna get back up. Thank you for stepping in for me, but I'm gonna check myself, I'm gonna correct myself, my posture, my demeanor, you know, because it's not about me at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Because
just gotta be
you
open.
need ministry too, or you need time, a moment, a meditation for you too. I think the danger is sometimes we always feel like we got to go. Or, you know, those people who serve and those people who are ministering, who are giving out, if you're sick, it's a real opportunity that you could get your sickness on someone else. And being wise enough to say, let me pull back, or let me, you know, I'm always giving out, let me receive some ministry, so that there's some balance. I'm not working wounded and hurting and bleeding all over other people.
Right. And a lot of times when we come in as, you know, out there, you want to be the superhero and you bring your baggage in here, you don't understand how your baggage can be heavy and delay your praise and delay what you receive here in the ministry. So then, okay, you're just pushing through and you're on that ministry and you're asked to serve or go pray for this one or that one or the other, and you don't have yourself right. So that's what the altar is for. You know, and it's a part of that checking yourself where you and God say, okay, God, you know, I'm not in that space where I need to be right now. Give me a refill, you know, refresh me, cleanse me, give me a clean heart, so that when you step back into that position of being able to minister or whatever your position is, you're back to where you need to be.
That's good.
And I think sometimes that people allow their personal feeling and things that they bring from home and other things come into the kingdom. And they're not aware. And the main thing that we all should be on the same page is we're here to do God's will. So regardless how you feel, you know, I'm worried about how you feel, but I'm here for a reason.
That's not just
Well,
here though.
you know,
That's
not
your
just
whole
here,
life.
no. No,
That's your
but
whole life, and so
Right.
And I'm not saying you saying it's just here, but
Yeah.
if you start living your whole life
Right.
that way, I'm talking to myself. You start living your whole life that way, then you'll start noticing these things quicker. You'll be
Exactly.
like, oh, hold up, Sheree, wait a minute.
Yep.
This is your coworker. She just said hi. Why you like? What was she saying hi? She was leaving. You know.
Yes,
So
exactly.
you'll
Right.
start living your whole life that, and not just thinking because I came into the kingdom or because I have to pray for somebody, because you may have to pray for somebody on Tuesday morning.
Yes.
You know, so you should be
Always.
thinking about how you are at that
Yeah,
time.
at all times, yeah.
That's
Well,
good.
then we have to consider that the church is a hospital. So everybody, even though we would like for the kingdom to run smoothly and everybody come in here like, oh, I just dealt with that at home, I'm going to leave that right there. Let's go. You know, get them delivered. Right? But this is a hospital. So I'm coming for that deliverance. I'm coming for that freedom. I'm coming to be liberated, right? So we have to consider that's kind of twofold. The mature would say, me and Marcus had a fallout, but when I hit the door, it's ministry. It's go time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Well,
we're
ladies-
mature. But Saffron could say, well, I had a fallout and I need some help. 'Cause
Well,
somebody
look-
gonna get the smoke.
It looks like we're gonna need a part 2 to this show because we didn't touch on the wealth part. But stay tuned for part 2. To Pastor Tony Smith and Victorious Ministries International, thank you for allowing us to be a part of the vision. Ladies, we are out of time. Until next time, bye-bye.